Hi everyone, welcome again to Tune In Tuesday. And first of all, apologies for missing out last week. We had a bit of a challenge with our little dog, Bonnie. I was going to bring her in, but it's dinner time out there, so she's not going to come with me when there's food on the table. But we had to take her to the vet. Nothing serious, but she had a couple of lumps, which I was watching over the last, months or years. Hi, Anna, and thanks for joining. And but then there was a lot of dark skin under her hair, so I was getting a bit concerned about that. And of course, your mind goes to the worst, doesn't it? When you see something wrong, you just go, "Oh my God, lumps, dark skin, da da da. Something's going on with her blood or something like that." So anyway, we went and had her checked out, and it's just age. Bless her. We were laughing because we've been saying that she's about 5 or 6 years old for probably the last 2 or 3 years. And when we got our documents out, she's actually closer to 9. In fact, she's 9 next month. So, and for everyone who comes and has sessions with me, you'll know that Bonnie is always there to greet you very enthusiastically. She loves to bark. And but she comes straight into the room and she sits under the bed and sits with all of my clients, and there's never a peep out of her. And she's a little darling, and I don't know what we do without her. So all good, all's worked out well. So here we are again, Tune In Tuesday, and there was lots going on today. I've had some amazing clients, and I often get particular inspiration from different clients. And I guess the general theme I was picking up today, because I often think there's a theme, I'm always learning from my clients. I learn patterns and behaviors, and you see things being reinforced all the time. I joke, or well, not joke, it's, I do think that the universe is teaching me stuff through my clients. And I really enjoy that. And I love looking for the patterns of behavior and similar things that are going on. So but one of the things I thought I would have a little chat with you about today is self-care. And self-care is always paramount, but particularly I think this year has really taught all of us that we need to really take care of ourselves. And one of my little beefs, in a way, if you like, is when people don't take responsibility for themselves. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but because when you take responsibility for yourself and for your health and your well-being and your behavior, then you connect into your own power. So I want everyone to feel more empowered, to feel stronger, and to feel like they're in control. And the way you do that is to take responsibility for yourself. Now, I guess in the old days, people said you need to be more responsible, or we feel like we should be responsible, and we're all trying to be more responsible. But in actual fact, responsibility is something that we choose, or we need to consciously connect into choosing. What am I responsible for? Because very often we are taking on responsibility that doesn't belong to us. And I think mums are particularly guilty of that. I find that most dads are very aware. Absolutely, they have a very strong sense of their responsibility, but they're very clear, or certainly more clear than most people, most women, in what areas they are responsible for. And obviously their number one is probably as the provider. And that's always been the traditional role of husbands and fathers and men in the world. They need to provide for the family and for their wives. And obviously that is a huge responsibility. But nowadays women also share that responsibility. And so women are now taking on the responsibility of sharing that need to provide for the family. But then you're also carrying the traditional roles of also being responsible for the kids, being responsible for their well-being, being responsible for the food, for who's eating, who's going out, who's home. Hi Jess, thanks for joining. And being responsible for all the traditional roles plus all the new roles. And unfortunately, we tend to leave little or no time for ourselves. So as well as your own family, very often the women from the original family, and I know this very well in my own family, the girls, 2 girls and 6 boys in my family, where there were 6 boys, we've lost my dear brother Michael. But you know, the girls took on the responsibility of what needed to be done. And even though as our parents got older, they may not have always done everything, they were always, my sister in particular, bless her, she was still back in Ireland, shout out to Pauline if you're watching, then definitely, you know, the females tend to carry the responsibility of what needs to be done, organizing it, telling the guys what to do, all that sort of stuff. You've all probably got your own version of that. But what I want to say, and I think it's becoming more and more important, we absolutely must take care of ourselves. And I've seen this for many of my female clients, particularly mums, over, you know, particularly the last 5 years, because, and I keep raving about this, but I would say I've been very aware of the consciousness of the planet lifting and lifting and lifting over the last 2, 3, 4 years. If you've been to see me, you'll hear me talk about the yin is rising, the yin is rising. We all need to get ready for it, because absolutely that yin energy is coming onto the planet, and it's correcting the balance of the yin and the yang. Now, if you've been watching any of my videos or been in any of my workshops, I just go on about this because we need to get our heads around it. We have been very yang dominant. The yang is the energy that is all about getting out in the world and doing, working, taking responsibility, looking after everybody else, you know, do more, have more, be more, step up, work harder, do better. And that's been what we've been programmed into for centuries, generations, right? Excuse me. As the yin rises, we now realize we have to step back. We have to rest. We have to get the balance back because we need to heal. We need to heal the earth. We need to heal ourselves. We need to heal our own old pain and suffering. And we need to heal the behaviors that we have taken on as a consequence of not being truly at peace with ourselves and given ourselves time to heal from our own experiences and challenges and traumas. And, you know, that's really important. You cannot be resilient until you have healed your vulnerabilities. That's another way we look at the masculine versus feminine, the yang versus the yin. Not versus, it's probably the wrong way. It's like they're clashing against each other. But one must complement the other, because we do have to get up and go out and do our responsibilities. But we need to come home and rest and eat well and nurture ourselves and feed our bodies, feed our mind, connect into Mother Earth, connect into a loving, nurturing, nourishing environment. So it's very important that we pick the right time to do that. Give ourselves time to do that. But very often that's been neglected. And again, mothers tend to put everybody else on the pecking order before she gets time to look after herself. But one of the things I always say is the mums are the hub of the family, because everyone else, including the hubbies and the fathers, they tend to depend on the mother to direct things in the family. So if you're not right, being the cog that driving the wheel around, you know, everybody's looking for you to be well. So you must take care of yourself. So do what you can there. Now it's interesting, I love to pull some cards because I've got all my new cards. I've been going on about them. So this is some of the numerology cards, new ones that I've got recently from Michelle Buchanan. This was coming up. So this is a message for this evening, and there's a couple of funny things with it. So this is it. They're all just you know, the part of the sacred geometry. You'll always see the Metatron's cube behind me. Oh, good on you, Jess. You've just had a beautiful Epsom salts bath. So good. Get that magnesium in there. We need it desperately, all of us. I've been having magnesium baths recently, trying to take care of my back. So, the environment, okay? So I'm going to say this is also your internal environment and your external environment. So it says this card indicates a time to focus on environmental awareness by educating yourself about what's going on behind the scenes. Honor Mother Earth as a living, breathing entity, and recognize that we are privileged to be here as her guests. By drawing this card, we're being encouraged to dig deep and look beyond the surface to question whether your personal or political decisions are in the best interest of the planet Earth. A great place to start is by watching the documentary Thrive by visiting www.thrivemovement.com. Now, when I did the long evening, when we did the meditation and we had a nice long chat, I talked about this movie, and it's a wonderful movie. Now, it's quite old. It's been around probably at least 10 years, and I've linked it into the group. So have a look down. It's only about a week or maybe 2 weeks ago, and you'll get a link there to the Thrive movie. It's on YouTube. I don't know if you can get it anywhere else, but I know that's where I got it. And Kim Parker, if you're watching, thank you for putting me onto that. But I've watched it a couple of times, and it's really, really good. If there's a bit of it that might not be your cup of tea at the beginning, where they spend a lot of time talking about the crop circles, because they're talking about the clean energy that's on the planet, or free energy. There is free energy on the planet that has been gifted to us, millennium ago, but it's all been hidden and not allowed to come out because people can't make money out of free energy. So imagine all the energy companies. Anyway, so have a little look at that. They go on about the crop circles a little bit more than probably is my cup of tea. And then they talk about the finance, and they talk about, medicine, and they talk about our food. It's really, really interesting. So look behind the scenes, dig a bit deeper. I'm kind of talking to the converted because most people who are on here may already be aware of that. If you haven't seen it, please watch it. I particularly like the end of it. So do persevere with it, watch right through to the end, because in the end, they do this lovely presentation of what the world could look like. And we talk about moving into the fifth dimension. That's the new energy that's coming. We're moving from the third dimension into the fifth dimension. And what that might look like. And it's just very well done. It's nice and simple. It's very doable. When you watch it, you think, oh my God, what's that all going to look like? But they talk about the environment and about banking systems that really benefit everybody. Imagine that. Could take a little while, but they'll tell us, I've heard over and over again, we're going to get there by the time we get to 2024. So that's not far at all. So we can all help with doing that. So all the little things, recycle things, what clothes are you buying? Where are they coming from? Is it recycled fabric? Thank God the fashion industry is really stepping up and looking at that. And I've been, my local supermarket is Coles, and I've really been amazed at how much organic food they're bringing in, and they're extending that whole section. So I love to see that organic is increasing in popularity. I often say to people who are going, I always just, choose organic. And I go, don't let it stress you. Don't make your food difficult. Make it convenient. But if you can use as much organic as possible. And in a lot of cases, it's not that much more expensive. So dig a bit deeper and look at your environment, your internal environment. So what you're putting into your body, is it clean, healthy? Get away from the packaged foods. Make everything as fresh as possible. People often come to me for, we women, particularly we middle-aged women, we're always worried about our weight. And, people say, what diet should I be on? And what should I eat? And blah, blah, blah. And I always go, we absolutely know what we should be eating. We should be eating fresh fruit and vegetables and a little bit of protein and some carbohydrates. But the mainstay of your food should be lots of fresh, preferably organic fruit and vegetables. So particularly vegetables have a much higher nutritional content than fruit, but make fruit your treat, and again, nice and fresh, and take care of yourself. So keep everything simple. Don't get complicated about stuff. And the fasting, great. I keep, meaning I'm going to do a 3-day fast. I am. I just don't know when. I've got to get myself really organized. I've got to get my head in the game first because I'm a foodie. So your environment, take care of your internal environment. Look at what you're drinking, clean, fresh water. I've been told, and PJ's talked about this on the pillar code, and you know, if I muscle test our Sydney tap water, it's not very good. It's not very clean. I'm not going to get into, I don't know what it's in it, but there's all sorts of chemicals going into it. And also, if you know homeopathy, Jess, you'll understand this. When whatever is put in the water, and when it goes through those big treatment plants, it's all being churned up and churned up and churned up. So there's always a trace element of the whatever is put into the water is being churned up and magnified, or the energy of it is being increased, and that is partly what we consume. So if a lot of people have you know, all sorts of medication is going into our water, not directly but indirectly, so definitely filter your water. And they do talk about doing things like, if you get a nice card like this, or the Mr. Masoto, I never get his name right, I'm looking at it, the hidden messages in water, then you can put some of his cards, or even write, you know, things like peace or love or joy on a piece of paper and laminate it and put your water on that, and then that energy infuses into the water. But just bless your water, hold your glass, do everything consciously. So connecting into your water consciously and thanking the environment for the water and what it's going to do for you. So it's cleansing your body, it's giving you good hydration, and it's feeding all your cells. Oh, my battery's starting to go. I hope we're going to be okay. So what else have we got here? This card also encourages to recycle and use environmentally friendly products. Okay, perhaps you can explore organic foods. We've covered that. Make the more aware and self-sufficient you become, the more control you have over your health and what you put into your body. By doing your part to raise public awareness, you inspire others to do the same. In order to improve your current situation, you're being asked to adjust to and harmonize with the natural rhythms and cycles in your life. Cycles that are encouraging you to raise environmental awareness. Okay? So one of the little things I was going to talk about, and I keep talking about it, so, but and I looked at my old notes tonight, was the our unconscious and how we connect, how we can connect into what they call the unconscious mind. But I thought the first place we could start talking about that is your unconscious body. Because everything that goes on in your body happens unconsciously. You do not consciously beat your heart. You do not consciously digest your food. Most of the time we don't consciously breathe. So we don't consciously, you know, almost even move our limbs unless we're connected into the movement. You even see lots of people out walking and they've got their headphones on, they're listening to podcasts or they're listening to music. But I reckon if you could consciously take that time to connect into your body, how are you feeling? Connecting into the energy and the vibration and the frequency that you are sitting in, and consciously choosing to work with your breath as you walk or run or exercise. So consciously connecting with your body, and that's all about going a little bit deeper and you know, sending positive messages to your body when you're doing, I mean, we do when we do yoga, I think, a lot of the time, but you know, as you walk and when you get into bed at night, consciously connecting into your body is a lovely thing to do. So there's so many systems in the body that all work beautifully for us going on in the unconscious. So part of raising our consciousness is to connect to the body consciously as well. There was another card, beautiful card from my fairy forest. These are lovely. Really like these. They're a bit of Irish in them. And this one is about Awen. She's beautiful. I love the artwork in these cards. So this is Awen, gift, divine inspiration, and awakening. So Awen translates as divine inspiration or flowing breath. So here we go, we're talking about the breath. It's a mystical force that offers us a moment where there is a sudden surge in newfound knowledge, inspired thought, and the ability to awaken our dormant talents. and a sense that before we were given the gift of Owen, we were like sleepwalkers. Owen is a moment in life where life is changed forever. And once we drink of Owen, we feel it is a beam of divine light entering us and changing us. We can never return to who we were, and the world is never the same again. So when the card comes to you, you must know now that having experienced what is taking place, you cannot pretend life can ever be the same. You have lifted the veil and you have seen the face of the divine. You have drunk the elixir of the gods, and the fairies have offered you their greatest gift. Owen does not stay, but the knowledge of what we have experienced in that moment changes us forever. So now that you have had this life-changing experience and been given this incredible moment of inspiration, you can either pretend to yourself that life is without magic, or you can continue to embrace the magic in the enchantment of every moment. Now, if you choose, you can become more fully alive. And while this is no easy path, it is one that is filled of deep, joyful moments, true connection, and poetic, blindingly beautiful experiences. Owen will come from time to time, and you are so blessed for having had this most sublime and life-changing of all mystical experiences. So I think this is definitely talking about, the Great Awakening, but waking up to yourself, to the conscious choices that you can make. And when you decide to put yourself first, and when you decide to make your health and your well-being a priority, then you raise your consciousness, and then you are a shining light to everyone else who is around you. But you are literally changing the vibration and the frequency of the planet. You'll probably know that I've gone down lots of the dark rabbit holes, taken the red pill a few times and looked into all sorts of things that are on the planet. And there are times where it has caused me quite a bit of distress. And I think it's very important that each of us do at times go and wake ourselves up to a lot of the lies, the illusion, and the corruption that has gone on the planet, because you need to be aware of it. Well, you need to be aware of it. I think by opening it up and seeing it and shining your light on it, it exposes it to more light. That's my philosophy. And you don't want to stay there too long. Really what I've learned is we need to come back and lift our vibration. Stay in the light. Choose how you want to be and how you want to feel. So one of the things that I've talked to a few of my colleagues about this, if we can stay in the enlightened space, in the awakened state, and because when you do that, you're aware that you consciously have to connect into your highest vibration as much of the time as possible. So it's your job to stay in the light. Those who are going through the waking up process, it's a very tumultuous process, and it can have all sorts of effects on you. It's like your world falls apart. Sometimes your body kind of falls apart. But what you thought your world was about very often changes. So I think it's good for people who are going through that to look at the darkness of themselves and their own experiences and what is going on in the world, and share that, but open it up, share it with people, tell people what you're going through, and bringing all of your old hurt and pain out into the light. And then the people who are staying asleep, as they say, if you haven't opened up to the light, you are like one of the sleepwalkers. So it's a little bit like sleepwalkers. What's that thing it's in? Well, you know what I mean. So if you're asleep, you won't even know this. You won't be listening to this. You won't hear any of this. But as you go through your waking process, till you wake up what's actually going on in the world, who you really are, you are this divine, beautiful, radiant light in the world. And when you connect into that every day, and you know that you have the power to choose how you want to feel, because you are taking responsibility for how you feel, then your life changes forever. And you know that you can choose how to see things, you know how you can choose to be. Oh gosh, it's a lot, isn't it? It's a lot to take on. So I encourage you to come back to yourself. I'm always going to keep saying that. Come back into yourself. Connect to yourself first in every situation. Look at how you're feeling and who you are being. And you now have the power and the responsibility of choosing who you want to be and what you want to do and the life you want to have. So I'll just do a quick little plug for the, what do you call it, the manifesting like a master, getting the mastery of manifestation, because through choosing what you want to do and who you want to be, that's the only way you're going to make it come true. So choose it, know that you have the power to make it come true, and you deserve it. You know, you are a divine, glorious light of source energy, of God, of Jesus, of, you know, whatever you choose to call it. You are an example and a little droplet of that beautiful source energy on this planet. And if we could connect to that every day, the world is going to change. Well, it is going to change anyway, but the quicker we all do it, the better. So can we all do it quickly, please? And I hope that makes sense. I hope you get a little bit of inspiration and a bit of coming back to me, you know, ideas. So being conscious, being kind, having compassion for yourself, just taking the time to give yourself some special care, because you are special and you deserve to have it. So that's all I'm going to say tonight. I hope you've enjoyed it. I did ask before, and I would love your feedback. The things that I'm talking about, I just love to know, if you're not working in this field, how much of it are you seeing in other conversations? In fact, I'll give you an example. I had a lady come to see me this week, and she just popped in. We used to be in a networking group together, and she's a finance advisor. So I thought, well, she's not going to know a huge amount about all this energy that's shifting on the planet and things. But she started to tell me how more of her clients are coming to her, and they're asking her for eco-conscious investment that they can choose. So I was blown away. I thought, what a beautiful example of how things are changing subtly, quietly. It's spreading through the world. So she is having clients who want to have industry that is sustainable, who are conscious about taking care of their employees. You know, so I thought that was lovely. It was kind of just such a subtle little thing, but again, just an example of how things are moving and shifting. And I was watching a beautiful astrologer tonight, and I posted her before. Of course, I can't remember her name. I might share it again. And she was talking about what's happening in October. So the forecast for October and November is lots of big, hot, fiery change, demonstrations, revelations going on in the 3D world. So get yourself over to the 5D. If you've got questions about that, I'm happy to answer. If you've got anything specific, I'll do it the best I can. I don't entirely understand it. I absolutely do understand that it's all about vibration and frequency, and we have to sit in our joy, in our love for one another, in our appreciation of one another, appreciation of our life, and gratitude for everything that we have and for everything that's coming. I promise I'm going. So have a beautiful evening, and take care of yourselves and your loved ones. And that's all for now. We'll talk next week. God bless. Bye.